Hello, welcome to the Wealth Transfer, Global Economics, Biblical Principles, and protecting, preserving your wealth, your family, your church, your business. I am Terry Sacka, Chief Strategist, along with Dr. Charles Vance, and we're going to just give you data today after all the heavy content we've had over the last 6 weeks. So stay tuned. It's going to be really informative.
It won't be boring. Terry kind of said that like data, like it could be boring, but it's not going to be boring. It's really going to be
If you have a retirement
informative.
account, you better pay attention because this is as real as it gets. I'm just going to lay it out.
Absolutely.
It's the beginning of the year here. We're in 2017. I want everyone to know what happened in 2016. And let's show the data.
Sure.
I think it's incredible because it's not what the media is showing you, and you need to know the underlying. So I'll just get into a little bit here because it all leads into the war you're seeing on cash. So we're going to get into some of that data and then kind of end it all showing you some really good stuff on the war on cash. It's just vital to understand what that means. So let's just jump right in. So may God bless each and every one of you, and your eyes and ears be open to the wisdom and understanding that's about to be shown you. But in construction, which is a big part of America economics, construction spending and expansion of housing, and housing is a big part of our economy. Construction spending year over year, for the first time, has actually gone negative since the great, what they would call the Great Recession. If you notice there in the green, this was before that was the 2005, 2006 real estate boom. And then, of course, we had that small little collapse in the real estate boom we all remember. And then we kind of got a little bit of
sarcastic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't small.
Well, look, the small one, and then we had a little bump back up into some positive spending.
Big one.
But then they couldn't hold it. The derivatives absolutely annihilated the housing market, in that big swath of red was 2008, 9, 10, and 11. That's the big depression of the housing market. Of course, we started spending trillions and trillions and trillions in stimulus, and that's why you see all the green since 2011. You know what's also interesting is gold and silver, where prices were exploding during those red periods, and the green there is when they manipulated and brought it down. Well, lo and behold, as you can see on the right side there where that arrow is, we've crossed into the red. And I just contend that, as I keep saying all of these weeks, something's getting ready to roll over, and the data shows that. Now, for last year, many think that everything was okay in the housing market. Here's last year's chart. If you've noticed, U.S. construction spending for 2016 has been down. The whole trend for 2016 was down. Everything else, all the other years, the spending was up leading up to 16. So all those other lines are just showing you all those years leading to from 11 to 16, spending was up. This is the first time, last year was the first time we see construction spending going downward to the point where negative. If our economy was doing fine, this would not be the case. These are the indicators we need to pay attention to, and why it's so vital. Now, what happened during those times, Charles?
What I think is interesting is that time period where you had that green bump on the chart prior to this. After that, they started the quantitative easing, and tried to put money back in the system.
That was Bush, and he tried to do 150 billion stimulus. And he even said, go spend it.
Yeah, exactly.
So there was this little euphoric of, wow, this is great, but it didn't last long.
Well, there was supposed to have been a bunch of money available for housing.
Yes.
And my wife and I own some housing, rental housing, investment properties, and money tightened up after that.
Yes.
And we've got high credit scores. I mean, high like in the top probably 10 percentile credit scores, maybe 5 percentile, and we couldn't get money. The banks supposedly had it. They were supposedly dumping it into the banks. So I'm not sure even the construction spending must have been high-end, high-volume construction companies because it wasn't the local guy in the construction business.
Well, you notice that didn't last long, but a few months.
Yeah.
And then we had the massive red collapse. Now, check this out as it goes into. So now 2016, all of 2016 was negative. All through Barack Hussein Obama's presidency, which will go down, mind you, as one of the worst presidencies in almost our entire history of presidents, I think. But only because of everything that his legacy will be nothing but things that are so morally decrepit. But financially, he will be the only president never had a 3% growth, the only president that had a $10 trillion debt spending, more than any president before him. And all the jobs he created was this. We've shown this before. All through the presidency of Barack Hussein Obama has been nothing for we the people's work. You see that we have going from 2007 on the left. The green line are waiters and bartenders, service industry. The red line is manufacturing. That's the bottom line. Now, if you've noticed, since the big collapse of 07 and 08, we lost all of our manufacturing jobs, and we have barely recovered. If you notice, we're still well below zero. Millions. Only people that actually made job growth going forward were bartenders, waiters in the service industry. We all know that it's been part-time because the very first thing they had to do, the Democrats, when they controlled everything, was Obamacare. And Obamacare was a colossal nightmare for the middle class. That's why I think Democrats got annihilated in this election, is because it was factually, financially annihilating to the middle class and we the people. Nothing wrong with being a bartender or a waiter, don't get me wrong. But you're not generating a lot of wealth, and it's part-time. That's the key.
We don't really advocate bartending, but you're saying there's nothing wrong with having an occupation.
Yeah, an occupation. Yeah, I know. I'm with you on the alcohol part of it. But it was about the part-time. 87% of all job creation in the Obama presidency was part-time. So when you're seeing all these numbers on the financial channels, they weren't accurate.
They were doctoring up the numbers.
Yeah, because the numbers they were showing you of job growth were part-time jobs, you see. And so it was a horrid misrepresentation of wealth.
The part-time obviously kept people from having the benefits of full-time work.
Yeah.
And most of that part-time work would also cause people to have lower wages.
Well, that's my point here. I know, and we all know, people, here I'm looking at my producers and people out there, hey, we know. We have a great staff here, I tell you, just wonderfully blessed. But the part-time I'm referring to, the reason why, I know so many people, man, is it expensive for them to live? By the time they pay their rent and they get their food, their car, they get a flat tire and they're struggling. And this is horrible. It can't be turned around under the conditions of our world as the elites have structured it. That's why, wow. You got to take that for a minute.
Well, the elite have not structured the system for us. They've constructed a system for them. And as long as we allow them to keep making the rules without us having any input. And see, many times what happens is people just flow with things. We've said this routinely. They flow with the current, and as long as everything seems to be halfway working for them, they don't have a problem with it. They don't rebel against it. Many times we sit and wait too long before we do anything to change things, and it's gone so far the wrong direction. It's like these charts that you're showing us. Then it feels like that we don't have the ability to do anything about it.
Well, and I think we are in trouble. And I'll have to say, because it's happened too much, I get talking too much, and I get very passionate. I get a dry throat, and it's hitting me. If anyone has a solution out there as to how you can keep your throat dry while you're speaking like this, because this is amazing. It's been happening too often over the last handful of weeks. Email us at client support at Cam Metals there. Go to us and contact us. Let me know if you got a great solution. I would love it because that just locked up my throat like I can't believe. And obviously, if I'm doing television, I better get that figured out. So, but to get to Charles's point, yes, and we know so many people, and all I know is those who do have retirements are in trouble because the projection for our economies to grow in the stock market, bond market is not there. So we need to be educated. We must get protected. And all I know is tangible assets like silver will be the beneficiaries when this thing goes through the reset. And I just want the kingdom to be aware of that. So take this seriously. Let's register for information and let's get yourselves protected.
Are you concerned about the security of your financial future? Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you prepare for the extraordinary times ahead by protecting and preserving your assets through silver and gold. At Cornerstone, the protection and preservation of your investment is our first goal. So we are here to serve you with honesty, transparency, and respect. Take control of your future by registering on our website at cornerstoneassetmetals.com or call us toll-free at 888-747-3309. Call now, 888-747-3309. At Cornerstone, securing your future is our goal.
You know, we may not be as polished as CNBC, but it looks pretty good, and at least you know you're getting the truth. So I like
that's
that
the
part.
key. I mean, we're on the other side of CNBC and CNN,
Yeah.
because we're not. This program is not threaded with liberal and social agendas.
Yes.
We're not owned by anybody.
We're not owned by anyone except God.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
But so if you see where we're going with our construction, our economy showing a failure, this is a fascinating graph here I'd like to show you. Spending since World War II, remember when Keynesian economics in that video a couple weeks ago or last week said how we need to go into debt in order to cure unemployment and spend money from the government level. Now, that always was flawed because wealth should come from small business. And keep in mind, 76% of all job creation comes from small business. So it's not the government. But right now, today, Keynesian has won in the sense that there are 10 million jobs more in the government than there is in manufacturing. That's a really bad problem.
You need to say that again, because when you first told me that, that's bizarre to me.
It just came out. We have now currently 10 million jobs in government more than we have in manufacturing in the United States.
So there's 10 million more people working for the government than there is
the entire
for the manufacturing
in
industry.
The United States.
That's just bizarre.
They have
the government has become too large.
Well, this is the model of communism. Socialism and communism is about the 20% elite all ran through the government. Now, what happens when the government is the only employer? You have to beg, cheat, and steal for the food because they control you
completely. Absolutely.
That's the problem of Keynesian economics. You control the people. Remember what Ronald Reagan said in that video. People become controlled. So if we are going to remain a free people in a free society, we have to be business friendly, small business friendly, not corporation, small business friendly. It's really important to capture this, because the government spending has gone down to almost nothing. And so the model is not only failing, how I know it's coming to the end, besides the data we've shown, look at this next image here. This is a G6 government's gross investment as a percent of their GDP. Governments right now are spending less money today. If you notice on the right side of that chart, it's down, than they did back in 1948.
Then why is if that's a case, why is our debt still so high? The government
because we've never paid the debt off.
Oh, so we're just paying interest.
We're paying interest.
We're paying billions with a B, billions of dollars a day in interest on our national debt.
Yes, and if you look at that chart, how that chart lays it out, you notice that government is spending less and less on investment.
Oh, on investment.
It's all entitlement and welfare and things that don't produce. You remember what you said?
It's just consuming.
You can take that
It's
out,
being
Steve.
consumed.
Yes.
The money is just being eaten up.
Yes. What you're seeing is we're no longer investing in roads and bridges. We no longer have good trade deals that produce manufacturing incentives to build a small business. I mean, most phenomenal small businesses, the people can profit if you own a small business. You hire 15, 20 people. You can make maybe $250,000. You have a nice life. Well, we don't have to get into that, but Hillary Clinton and the socialists were going to tax everyone who made that kind of money, you see. They were going to destroy the actual fabric of small business, which creates 76% of the jobs.
So the people that worked were going to get penalized.
Yes.
And the people that are not working are going to get rewarded.
Actually, even worse, the people who create jobs were going to be penalized. And that was a full-on socialist press to take over the American way of life.
Well,
and so we've now been renewed.
It is definitely an anti-biblical and an anti-God system.
Oh, I call it anti-Christ.
Well,
they're
it would be
Luciferians.
anti-Christ, certainly.
Absolutely.
Because that's not the way God runs things.
Absolutely. And so if you go on and look at this, this is the public debt of our now this goes back to 1880. And remember we showed this before? We showed that just a while back.
The Soup Bowl.
Yes, the Soup Bowl. This is how we know. So government investment is non-existent back to when Keynesian economics was starting. We're now in a soup bowl of public debt to the point where the red line is going back up. We need some trigger or event to change the direction of our nation. Maybe President Trump can do that through renegotiating trade deals. I just think it's a major uphill battle. I don't know if he can do it in time. I still believe the reckoning is going to happen regardless.
People need to be taught to be productive.
Well, that's what has to change. But
I owned a construction company for 20 years or so. We had we're small business, what you would consider 20, 30, maybe 40 people at tops working for us. And it got to the point that we couldn't find people that could do the trades, even the simplest of trades. People didn't want to do labor. They didn't do what we call manual labor.
Well, and I think that's a very good point because we're now in a massive entitlement world.
Absolutely.
The socialist left and Barack Hussein Obama promoted that you can have everything you need, sit around and smoke pot, and you don't have to work. Why would I want to do a trade if I can have all this for free? And so what we need to understand is it's not going to work. It is going to collapse. Now, unfortunately, the data is showing we will go through the financial reckoning. At least we have a President Trump and those around him with business experience that can then pick up this debris and put us on the right track. But it will happen anyway. He's not going to stop it probably. He can't. This is too large to stop.
It's probably generational. It's going to take,
That's what I'm saying.
If we had someone...
Well, you saw the charts on that. It's unbelievable generational.
What my point is, it's going to take a generation to fix it, if somebody can fix it, because there has been such a mentality ingrained into this younger generation that everybody owes them something.
Yes.
Nobody owes anybody anything.
No.
The Apostle Paul said, if you don't work, you shouldn't eat. And I'm telling you, that's a great motivator for working. Get yourself a job. If you go hungry for a little while, you'll do about anything. It's biblical. It's a biblical principle, and we need to get back to biblical truths. I had someone told me a few years ago, he said, you know the Bible's not true. And I said, you mean to tell me the principles of the Bible are not true? He said, no, that's not what I said. He said, the principles are true. He said, all that Jesus stuff is not true. So he even acknowledged that the principles and the laws in the Word of God work. They're timeless. God invented them. He's the one that came up with them.
I love that.
So we've got to train a generation to get them out of this mindset that somebody owes them something.
Well,
all the time.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to hammer home. I think shut it down, fire them, and arrest them if they break the laws. But we allowed the George Soros socialist revolution in this country under President Hussein Obama to allow this generation of youth to think, just as Charles is saying, that someone owes them. Mm-hmm. You have college universities where they need safe spaces because they're little crybabies. Don't say this because it hurts my feelings.
Safe spaces?
Believe me.
I've not heard that.
Meaning there are spaces now in college universities. You don't go if you're white. You only go if you're black or colored because it's safe, because I won't hear a phrase that might hurt my feelings. There's such a joke. Now, these are the socialist Marxist revolutionaries under Hussein Obama and so George Soros and Hillary Clinton. Now, they're being annihilated. We're probably having a fiery blaze of policy change that will destroy all of that rhetoric. We need to get rid of these liberal professors in the universities, and if anything, start shaming them for being this way. These youth are shameful youth. They're not productive. They're shameful youth. And so what we have to do is get them to understand College is not going to be free. Someone does have to pay. And if you work hard and get a job, now they don't want to get the job. They didn't want to work. I joined the Army to get college money. Remember the commercial? I didn't want to join I didn't even know what it meant. None of my family next to my grandfather knew what it meant. I didn't know what I was walking into, I'll tell you that. But I wanted to go to college and I didn't have the money. So I joined the Army. And I got an Army college fund and I saved my money and I got out and I went to college. But I did it on my own merit. Nobody gave me anything. And then I had to work while in college in order to eat. That was always good about being a waiter, by the way. So understand that we need to change the culture, as Charles is saying, from the youth. They almost pulled it off with the Bernie Sanders socialist revolution and the whole left-wing ideology. They almost destroyed everything we America and we the people were. But they lost because you woke up. And congratulations, evangelical, and congratulations, ladies, for stepping up and making sure this country went in the right direction so we can get the right judges and the right principles and character and integrity back into all the fabric of our government. Let's just pray to God that it's protected against the onslaught of the purple revolution that the Soros and the left will continue to fight. So get educated, please, folks. Paramount that you have your assets protected, because this is coming whether you like it or not. And we're going to get into a little dabble of telling you why. Because if it wasn't, everything we're showing you isn't true, you wouldn't see the war on cash like you're seeing. Because the war on cash is about control. And they only need control because collapse is coming. So get an education, check this out. We'll be right back.
Are you concerned about the security of your financial future? Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you prepare for the extraordinary times ahead by protecting and preserving your assets through silver and gold. At Cornerstone, the protection and preservation of your investment is our first goal. So we are here to serve you with honesty, transparency, and respect. Take control of your future by registering on our website at cornerstoneassetmetals.com or call us toll-free at 888-747-3309. Call now, 888-747-3309. At Cornerstone, securing your future is our goal.
You know, I try to stay, and you try to stay fairly calm. You rant a little bit more than I do. As a pastor for 20 some odd years, I've had to learn to relax, to calm down. As a businessman, same way. You still are kind of in ranting. You're younger than me.
No, it's my ex-army, and I can take apart the M16 and put it together blindfolded.
Okay, got it.
And when a communist, I was trained when a communist was coming at me across the line to shoot him. So the point is, I'm more of a warrior. So as a warrior, I'm a little more aggressive. Sorry, liberals, I'm not going away either. But that's where it comes from. I have a passion that's aggressive because of my warrior nature. And he has a pastoral nature with a little more love. But don't get me wrong, just a
little bit.
I know, but don't get me wrong, I absolutely love. That's why I'm the passionate one in that respect, because I'm willing to go to the front lines and fight the fight.
Here is something
we need, all of us.
Here is something I am very passionate about, is when you start messing with my money. In fact, I've said this from the pulpit several times. If you want to get in a fight, you mess with somebody's children or mess with their money, and you'll start a fight.
And that's what I think these socialists were doing. They were coming after our children.
Absolutely.
And that's why I have bababies, and so I'm like, no, game on.
Well, you've got I'm looking at your computer screen. You're getting ready to pull up a slide that is coming up on the back here. And the banks are starting to charge for cash deposits now. Is that correct?
Yes. Matter of fact, it's also part of the negative interest rate. And it's also part of the fact that they're charging people to put money in the bank. Remember, try to go to your bank right now and withdraw a decent sum of money. I have had stories of elderly ladies who were getting harassed for taking $3,000 or $4,000 out of the bank. Remember, that's not their money. Technically, you gave it to them, but it's a loan to them. And so it is their money. And the reason it's vital we get this, they think they own us. They think they can dictate to us. See what's happened here? They believe they can dictate to we the people what we can do with our money. You know what they're doing? Because they think we're stupid, which isn't really true. We're just not able to overcome the guns in our face from socialism and the government control, which now will change because the good will have a chance to rise through the earth. They think we don't have what it takes to manage it. They say the war on cash is because it fights crime, terrorism, tax evasion, you name it. A fraction of that is true, of course. That's not what they're doing. The war on cash is because they have printed so many trillions of fake dollar notes. What's in circulation isn't enough. These banks are insolvent. So is the government. We're broke. They have the war on cash because they want you to believe cash is real money in the sense that it says, you got into that before. It has to be honored.
Legal tender.
Legal tender. You can save it in your mattress and not spend it. The war on cash is about forcing you to spend money when you don't want to or be fined. That's the Keynesian model, remember. Spend, 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 take debt. And if you won't spend because you're smart, because you know something's wrong when you see all the economic data, you understand what we're saying. So the war on cash has nothing to do with more than control over you and monitoring your behavior to control you. So this is extremely dangerous, and we have to stand up and say no. More importantly, get your cash out of the bank. Don't trust them. That's why I would say get into silver. They don't control it. That's why your advisors and your bankers hate this so much, because they no longer have power over you. God and we the people shall be free. Next week, we're going to get into some serious war on cash details. You're going to love it. See you then.
I want you to join us then. Tell somebody they can watch these programs. You can watch these programs online, cornerstoneassetmetals.com. We'd love for you to join us right here, same place, same time next week. We'll see you then. Have a great week.
Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked hard to gain. For those of you who have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, we would like to send you a package of information regarding the changes to the dollar and the challenges of our economy that you need to be prepared for. This package includes how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA for long-term protection of your hard-earned wealth. For those of you who have cash to invest, we can arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or simply send it to your home. Call our toll-free number or register on our website now.